Hello, my name is Bobby Perry.
And I'm Brian Simmons.
On episode 4, Two Perspectives podcast, we'll discuss some of the different stages of gaming systems that we come to love. I can tell you that a lot of new gadgets are being created and bringing back the interests that we once had as a child. There are so many, there are still so many staple companies that rise up to the top, such as PlayStation, Nintendo, and Xbox. Since me and Brian do not use Xbox, we're solely going to talk about PlayStation and Nintendo and how they rose to the top in our own personal preference. So, Brian, can you break down like what is a gamer and who
So,
qualifies to being a gamer?
so a gamer can be multiple things. Like one gamer can be somebody who streams online, either on Twitch, Discord, or YouTube, or all platforms, and share their skills online to others. Some gamers, like myself, would rather just play with friends, try to get their skills up, try to perfect the game or beat it. And then you have others that literally like to play alone and do other, oh Lord. And then you have others who like to just play alone, doing single player games or whatnot, and just like to the adventure and the thrill. So basically, out of those three, one gets paid to be a gamer, and two really don't get paid to be a gamer.
Yeah, I feel like gamers have evolved over the years. Like we'll say, like for me, my first device was a Nintendo 64. I'm not sure if you had one, but my favorite game was Glover and then Pokemon Snap. I didn't really get that game only because it's just like it's on a timer and you're trying to catch as many different Pokemon as you can, and it was one of those slower games. Like it was hard to elevate. And then I also had Bugs Life, which was really fun. It got me to think about like how people work together, kind of like a support team, and I think ants are a great example of that because if one's getting hurt, it'll call over a whole bunch of them, then they start attacking you. Or if you're trying to drown them, you can't drown them because they'll form a ladder. They're just interesting creatures. But anyways, I think my introduction into gaming was very organic. It was around Christmas time, and back in the day, right before people started posting all these videos about healthcare in America, people used to talk about games. Toys R Us was a big thing, Circuit City was a big thing, Best Buy was a big thing, and then you start seeing them slowly progress going down. And there's very few Game Stops and Radio Shacks. Most of them are like obsolete, but that used to be a place where you can network with other people who have similar interests as you and try to build a network and get better recommendation of games that you could play. So I think that was my experience with gaming, but I don't consider myself a gamer.
Yeah. Well, I started with Sega. Sega was actually my first gaming system because my father was a big Sega fan at the time when Sega came out in the 80s, I believe. I'm not 100% sure when they came out. So my first few systems were Sega, Sega Genesis, Sega Saturn, the Dreamcast, and pretty much I grew up on playing Sonic. But over the time growing up, then I went into PlayStation because they had the better gaming system. I mean, the better more they had more games out. And also, I did do Nintendo. I did do a Nintendo 64 because my favorite games on that console were 007, Mario 64, um, and Diddy Kong Racing, Mario Kart. Those were the OGs of
Yeah,
Nintendo
still are.
64. Those were the
Like
real OGs.
People
So,
will stop traffic and everything just to get to Best Buy first dibs or pre-order, with the
mhm,
new PlayStation Switch, not PlayStation, Nintendo Switch 2 coming out. Everyone's like, I gotta buy it, I gotta buy it. But nobody knows what the actual price is, though.
mhm.
I'm like, I'm not sure if it's like increasing, decreasing, and then you're looking at currencies. It gets all types of confusing.
But
But
yeah.
it's that hype that gets people intrigued.
Hmm?
Um, I said it's the hype that keeps people intrigued.
Uh, well, yes, yes and no, but it also depends on what the console's graphics has to offer and what type of games they have to offer.
Hmm.
Uh, for for me, I'm not knocking down Xbox in any way, shape, or form because I do have a few friends that play Xbox. There is only one game that I would play on X. I mean, sorry, there is only one game that I will buy Xbox for, and that is Halo. Because I had a friend who, when Xbox came out, I don't even know. I think we were in early high school or middle school, one of the two, when Xbox came out. I'm not too sure, but I remember the first game I ever played on Xbox was Halo. Because and I fell in love with it. That's the only reason why I would get an Xbox, only to play Halo. Otherwise than that, no, I was more of a PlayStation and a Nintendo person growing up in the gaming world. So that's what I'm saying. Sorry to all the Xbox people out there who actually like Xbox.
I'm applying for a job that sells Xboxes, and they're just like, "You're a gamer, right?" Yeah. Have you ever played Xbox? I know what it is.
But you ain't got you ain't gotta lie.
um, I'll probably make a separate podcast on that interview, but like, yeah, you should definitely work for Apple. I'm like, yeah, definitely. I was like, what I find interesting about people finding like a network.
Right.
Well, let's first off start out with like a game system, like figuring out if we want a portable or stationary. Like for me, did a lot of road trips. So me and my nephew were 5 years apart. So we would get games that we could kind of collaborate with, whether it's I think at the time it was maybe Nintendo Game Boy SP. It had the flip screen.
That's a D
And
D
then
yeah,
Nintendo DS.
yeah.
Those were pretty
Yeah.
popular, and we used to play different games and stuff like that. And then when we were home, he had the PlayStation 1 and I had a PlayStation 2, so we got to play some of the old games, the new games, and then also going to my cousin's house. He was a big time gamer, and they were always playing Grand Theft Auto, Batman games, X-Men games, and they're just like, where you get these games at? I can't afford them. But keep in mind, I was a little kid, so I remember when I was little, I used to put on performances at home so I could save up money, not only just for the sets, but also to buy my own stuff. So
Right.
just in case I didn't get something on Christmas or my birthday, I could go to the store. Once I got old enough, I could go to Toys R Us. We used to go there every Friday and check out new game systems, try them out like the demos at the place. And it was really fun because not only did you get to use the systems for the first time, but you get to see the resolutions, what the games could possibly look like at home, and
Right.
you kind of get immersed. And then eventually AI became a big thing, like for Just Dance, Nintendo Wii, where people were like breaking their backs playing the games for long hours. But that's another story, but but those game systems were really fun, and it got people to exercise, not even realizing that they were exercising and getting out
Hmm.
and collaborate. Like I said, communication is a big thing because I know as a gamer, you kind of just want to concentrate on winning. You don't want to lose your focus. So yeah, it was like a different experience for me.
Nice.
Yeah, I love the experience though.
Ugh, no.
So what's
I'm
your preferences on stationary or
so I would have to say both, but it depends on the type of game that is offered. Um, Say for instance, like with Nintendo when they did the Game Boys, everyone was into Mario, so everyone had a Mario game or some type of game that Nintendo created, so you can take it everywhere. It fit in your pocket. You didn't have to be at home to play it or connect to the internet to play the console. So that's one of them. Also, depending like for PlayStation, if I wanted to play Call of Duty or any type of war games, because that's what I'm into. Obviously, you stay at home because it requires internet connection now, and then if you want to play online and all of that. But luckily, Nintendo came up with the Switch, so I can do both. I can be online and travel at the same time as long as I have internet connection.
And it's so big and bulky. That's my only gripe about it.
It's not big and
Um,
bulky. It can
you're
fit.
a tall
It
person.
can fit in
I'm
my
a very
pocket.
fat person.
It can fit in my pocket. The Nintendo Switch has fit in my pocket. Yes.
Pocket you guys.
You
um,
have the console in one side, and then you have the controls in the other pocket. There
I
you
wish
go.
you could put one of those case belts on you and stick right there. But then you got to worry about someone trying to snatch it off you. But my pockets aren't that deep. I was gonna say I did like PlayStation as we get into like the evolution of how things are going.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if you ever used the PlayStation phone. That
No,
was
but
how you
But
like
I've
to
had
get.
the PlayStation Vita. No,
Yeah,
PSP.
that
I'm
it
sorry,
was
had the
the
PlayStation
Vita. The
PSP.
best um came after the phone. Don't mind the specs, but it was capable of doing stuff. It had like 3 hours of battery life. It's just like, who cares? You can play your PlayStation game. But practical in real life, your phone would be dead all day,
Mm,
especially if you're trying to game at the same time. But at least I had a camera. It was run by Android. It was different. It was thicker than this. It was kind of bulky, but around the same size. Phones were a lot smaller back then, so that was kind of enormous.
sure.
I think that was one of the biggest phones that I've seen back when we were probably in our teens. But I just love how you're able to have that option of dialing someone on the phone, surfing the web, and even playing a game. And then I think when the PlayStation 3 came out, you could web surf. Or
Mm.
was that the PlayStation 4? But I know that you could have access to the internet and you could like go on
PlayStation
YouTube.
3.
Yeah,
3. Yeah,
yeah.
3. Not 2.
I
Not
know I
too
I
sure
said
of
three or
2.
four.
Been so long. But I know 3 you can go on the internet and download games instead of buying the
Mhm.
physical games. You can download them. I know
And
on.
that was a thing too. And people had the option of, do I want it digitalized? Do I have the CD?
Mm-hmm.
And what they're doing with the PlayStation 5, it's not only can it be backwards compatible,
Mm.
it could be, you can get two different options. I think the one with the digital is a lot cheaper than the one with the disc.
Right.
But the only downside is that unless if you have a membership or save it to the cloud, you lose all access to your games. And I think you have to have like a monthly subscription. I think it's a bad idea. But I feel like once you buy the game, it should be yours, access to everything, kind of like Microsoft when they had the Microsoft phones. It wasn't as an intuitive as the PlayStation one, but at least you could play basic games, but you would have to pay for them, which was a downside to the Microsoft phones, and I think that was the reason why they became obsolete. But there might be an opportunity for them to come back. Me personally, Microsoft wasn't my best experience for like computers. They would always catch viruses. I had a computer that caught a virus right before I even like powered it on. It was like I had to go to Best Buy to get it fixed, and they're like, well, we can't do it over here. And I'm like, why? We got it from Best Buy. They're like, well, our branch doesn't offer this and that. So we had to go to another branch. Then they were like, we can give you a new computer.
Mm.
Next computer came, same issue. So after that, I was just like, I'm gonna just save us some money and eventually I'm gonna get a Mac. And after that, it's been smooth sailing. It's rare when I ever have to call Apple, but okay, be a hater. But anyways, I think Apple is very supreme when it comes to their systems, and I like that they're starting to bring games um over to that. And I think you can even play PlayStation games on your Mac and even on your iPhone.
It's called
Right.
Steam.
Okay.
Yeah.
T break that down into detail because some people that might be watching might not know about that.
So Steam is a app or some or I don't know. It's an app. You can download it on your laptop. I can download it on my iPad, and I believe you can download it on your phone. And it's pretty much a place where you can play PC games or other games as well. So it's not just PC games on Steam. So that's how you probably can play games on your Mac.
I know I can imagine all the hate comments that you're gonna get on this video.
I don't care. I'm not a fan. Even though I do have an iPad with an Apple Pencil, I don't care.
Look, he
The
has
only
two,
reason
you guys, and he has an iPod.
I don't
Look at
have an
him. He's like
iPod,
an undercover Apple fiend.
no,
They
I'm
just
not.
don't know it.
The only reason why I got the iPad is because I didn't want a tablet where it's just like my phone. I'd rather have a tablet that's not like my phone. So that's why I got the Apple. Because if I would have got the Samsung tablet, it would have been just like
Same
me
thing with
having a
the big
bigger
screen.
phone. That's why I chose. Yeah, that's why I chose to have an iPad instead of having a Samsung tablet. That's the only reason. I'm still not an Apple fan. I'm Samsung all the way. I don't care what everybody says. Everyone has a preference. But anywho, when I heard you talk about Apple and Samsung,
What do you feel like? Where do you feel like games can slowly improve on? Even though they have like so many features that we want, but sometimes it's like, do we really need this? Are we really gonna use this quote unquote quirky new feature past the
well,
2 week mark?
see, everything is evolving. Everything's evolving at a timely matter.
So, do you feel like there are some features that they can enhance, like in the future?
No, whatever, all the game developers, whatever, all from Nintendo, Xbox, anyone who develops games for any system, they're actually doing a pretty good job because they're coming out with better graphics. It's looking like like you're literally playing a movie or
Hmm.
whatnot. So I won't. There's nothing they can improve yet because what I'm thinking about is they already improved it, like with better graphics and all of that. So no, there's not. No, trust me, they're improving in the near future. Eventually, where you're going to be thinking about, oh my god, am I watching a movie or am I playing a game?
Hmm. I feel like an area that they can improve on. This is not going to affect everybody, but people who have seizures will say only because, um, what's it, VR, virtual reality.
Mm,
I remember playing my friend's game. I only brought this up because, well, I'll include a feature that they do, what they did enhanced now. For people who have glasses, you can't really see without your glasses, even with the thing being so close. But sometimes people have seizures. Eventually, your eyes do like a little twitch. Either you've been using on the screen for too long,
mm-hmm.
or it might feel too real, and then I don't know what exactly causes seizures, but I had a friend.
Flashing lights,
It has to be more than just that.
strobe lights.
Um, but I think that they should try to make something more efficient for them. Like, I'm not sure if there's like the basic screen or the
Hmm.
OLED would make a difference. Like, maybe something that is catered to that specific group. I'm not sure what the ratio is because when we start thinking about how we're going to accommodate for someone, we have to think about costs. Is that
Right.
going to drive up costs? How many people are going to buy into this? Is this really going to work? Who are we going to beta test? And maybe that's why it takes them so long to make new devices compared to some companies. And I
Mm.
appreciate that because it gives people an opportunity to be like, okay, let's see how people use this for a month. Okay, people are using it all the time. Okay, 6 months later. Okay, they're leaning off a little bit. Are they still using it a year later? And you see people still playing these games year after year after year, and then maybe 5 to 6 years later, I'm not sure for PlayStation or Nintendo, but every couple of years, they release a new one or a beta version of like a slim, uh, a bigger one with extra
Hmm.
storage. Now you can buy memory cards, hard drives. You can set up your webcam. There's so much stuff that you can do nowadays where it's just like even when you were stumbling trying to answer the question, it's just like, what can I possibly do next? And like I said, the only thing I could recommend is just like something for people that have seizures because I don't want them to feel left out.
Right.
So, what makes people addicted to gaming?
The excitement, the fun of doing stuff and learning stuff and having good eye coordination, pretty much. I don't know, really. I'm not really that much of a gamer per se, but I do play a lot of games there.
Mm-hmm. Boy, it can be a game stuff for hours. uh, I think it's really cool. Just seeing like different perspectives of what makes people a gamer or a social gamer or a person who's trying to dabble into it. Even though that we know that people can be really addicted to it where they won't leave their room, they're probably pissing in a cup, sorry to say that. But
Right.
people just want to get to that next level.
Or
Um,
cloud.
do you want to share a horror story when it came to a game? Like,
I don't play horror games.
no, I'll give an example. Okay, so I was on the last level of Pokemon. I just had one more badge to get. It
And
would
you
have been my 16th badge. My cousin grabs my Nintendo Game Boy and she presses new game. So
see,
after I raised all those Pokemon, got them to the highest level, they were like literally at 90 or 100 level, can't get no higher than
now you
this. And I had to start all over. Hmm.
yeah, see, and stuff like that. You just gonna have to send me to jail.
I don't even know how she grabbed it. I had specific rules. If you need to play something, we have something on the TV. But I'm
Mm,
messing with my game now. But she was young. She just was fantasized by a game. It sucked for me because I worked so hard and I tried to redo it and I'm like, it took me 2 years. You know, it took a long time because I wanted to make sure that my Pokemon were strong enough to become
okay,
game master or whatever. And you kind of grow an attachment to them.
all right.
We can talk about defaults or like when a game cheats.
Games don't cheat. The people
That's
who
weird.
play the game cheat, or they find ways to cheat in the game. But
So you
games,
haven't played Pokemon where you're
I
about
don't
to
play.
win.
I don't play Pokemon.
Oh,
I'm more into if it has guns and I can kill things. That's my type of game.
okay. We'll use Virtual Fighter 4 or Mortal Kombat. As soon as you get to the highest level and it looks like you're about to win, all of a sudden your controller stops working, or
or, the,
somehow they just kick you out.
or you just couldn't charge a controller.
No, it's not. It's not the controller. It's the game system itself. It's built in a way that you just don't win. It's weird. Like they'll have like a bonus round and they try to make it really hard if you do really well. all of a sudden you start missing and the game starts
Mm,
acting all funny, and
right.
then you're just like, it's a game system cheating.
No.
I don't know what it is,
Agree.
but I know some people have experienced that.
Mm, no.
um, but yeah, I like this conversation. I think games have evolved so much, and I like this topic because this will introduce a new market of viewers to us. I don't consider myself a gamer. He is a social gamer, I would assume.
I'm not a social gamer.
What do you consider yourself?
I'm a gamer that plays like okay. The only game I play with people is a game called Fall Guys. No, I can't say I'm a pro at it, but I'm pretty good at it. So I play Fall Guys with friends. But I'm more into playing like war games, like shooting. Like for Call of Duty, I don't like the multiplayer. I'm more into the zombie parts of the Call of Duty franchise than the multiplayer itself. And I'm kind of glad that the new Black Ops Call of Duty now I think it has a campaign like a zombie campaign to it.
Hmm.
So that's what I'm pretty much, or adventure games or stuff like that. I'm not into Pokemon. Sorry for you and your Pokemon fans. I'm not into that type
It's a
of
big
gaming.
franchise. I think it's one of the largest franchises other than Batman and maybe Grand Theft Auto and Mario.
Well, Batman took me a while to get into because I was like, ooh, Batman.
Spider-Man's.
But when my cousin had the game, and I had played it, I think it was called Asylum, Dark Knight Asylum or one or whatnot. I actually enjoyed it because the Batman series, the games itself, makes you think outside of the box, and that's what type of games I like. Makes you think outside of the box, like especially for when it comes to the Riddler challenges, it makes you think, and that's what type of games I like as well. But also puzzle games, it makes you think outside the box. So
Hmm.
when I first played the Batman games, I was like, yeah, I'm into this too as well.
And I like that they have like social gatherings every year. Like it could be
Oh,
with
it's
Mario
about the
fanatics,
Cohen.
Pokemon
Yeah,
fanatics.
I
I don't
live
know
too
what.
far. I live too far to even go to those type of things as well. So I wish I could, but I can't.
I think it's neat that they still bring those and how things have adapted with the times. Like I know Yu-Gi-Oh is still going on. Um, Pokemon just ended, but the franchise is still continuing. Allegedly, I heard that they will be bringing it back in a couple of years with
Mhm.
Ash being a game master because, that was his ultimate goal, to be the
Was
very
about
best
time.
trainer.
Grew up.
So that might appear in a couple of years.
Hmm.
This was heard on an interview, so don't be like, he said on this podcast, this is what I heard from one of the actors. But they want to
I
take
like.
like a couple years off, and they've been doing it for a long time.
Mhm.
And I appreciate them giving us like a good finale at the end. Um, you know, seeing Ash and Pikachu just grow up like us and just striving to be successful. I think that is one of the models that many game systems have, like
Mhm.
Mario. Um, Even though you're like collecting gold and all these things, you're learning how to work in teams,
Right.
how to be competitive. Some people might be learning how to drive or speed. There's so many different games. Donkey Kong was a big one. Um, I'm trying to think of some big games that were on like multiple platforms, but those were the top three that I can think of besides Grand Theft Auto. But
Right.
Halo's the big one. Assassin's Creed, Tomb Raider, just naming a few. But you might know more games than I do.
Plenty.
So
But it's just too many. It's just too many to name all.
if there were one game system that you would pick over the other when it comes to Nintendo or PlayStation, what would it be and why?
I don't know because each console has a different thing. Like for Nintendo, I can travel with it and play my games, but for PlayStation, I like Call of Duty, and Nintendo doesn't have Call of Duty, so I can't do that.
So you can't
But
do that with the app that
not
you
with
recommended.
Nintendo's, not with no, unless Nintendo and PlayStation decide to get together and share the games, then fine. But otherwise, not. It's a like for mobility, Nintendo.
Hmm.
For bigger games that have good graphics, PlayStation. So it's a either or situation.
I like the fact that Nintendo doesn't really have any competitors. There might be new companies coming out, but I don't see anyone trying to rival against Nintendo
No, because Nintendo is in the little
category.
category. Because remember, they mastered the art of mobility instead of
Yeah,
state.
definitely.
Yeah. So PlayStation did with the PSP and the PS Vista, but that only lasted for so
Maybe like
long.
two
I
years.
wish it
Yeah.
would have lasted longer because technically I still have the games for my PSP, but the system itself is broken.
Hmm.
I would love to look for another PSP so I can play my PlayStation portable games again. So
And then also, I would like to highlight that we have to figure out how we can justify its price when it comes to these different consoles. It's like you said, do you want it more portable? Do you want it hybrid? Or do you want it more stationary? And then also, does it have the title games that you want? Because now companies are trying to upsell you like cheaper if you get a digital, but it's stuck on that device unless if you have a membership. Or do you want it physical and you have to worry about losing it or it breaking? I know a lot of people run into those issues.
well, this is why you save every so often.
Mhm.
As people who play games a lot, you will notice they save more often than people that are not usually gamers per se. Yes, even though the autosave may be on, but a real gamer will physically save it. So just in case anything happens, at least you know, boom. But most games now have autosave on there.
Mhm.
So and then you got most games that have like this whole slot where you can save,
The
like
hard
they
drive.
have
Yeah.
10 saves to the game, or 99 saves to the game. And then so say for instance I was playing this part, and then I found, oh, I had a secret, but I already saved it. You can always go back to your old save, play it again, and save it. So you can have two types of saves to that one part.
And pro
So
tip, always save to a hard drive, not to the actual device. I'll put
it
some links
depends,
in the
but it
description.
depends on. But for a console, no, it's there's no like for the I
They
don't know.
have
I don't
they
have a
have SD
PlayStation 5,
cards.
but I think PlayStation 5 the memory is built in. I'm not 100%
No,
sure
you can take it out.
because I know Nintendo with my Switch, you can either save it to the console or you can save it on a memory stick.
Mhm.
I save everything on the memory stick other than the console. Because it's
Yeah,
only what, 32 gigs.
yeah, I believe that you can. Like I said, I'll leave some links in the description, and we'll also put the consoles that we were recommending throughout this video. I think bottom line, technology is always evolving. It's crazy because my grandmother got to live to be 100, and just imagining like how games started, like you just had your imagination as a kid. And now the future generations of kids, they're getting more
Mm.
access to something outside of their friends and outside of their family.
Mm-hmm.
And now people are glued to their chairs. People are afraid to go exercise now. People are getting a little bit of weight. But games are just like, okay, we can make a change to this. You had concerns about people's health. Okay, let's get them moving a little bit.
Right.
So I think they're very they're very conscious and are very responsive to feedback. Like if you have a problem with something, speak on it right away because it could be other people that are having the same issues. Um, but yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video. My TikTok is BPerryFilms, Instagram BPerryFilms, YouTube the BPerryFilms Experience, and LinkedIn Bobby L. Perry. What is your at?
Um, for my TikTok, you can follow me on KoiGo12, and for my Instagram, you can follow me on the Simmons Boy.
And I'll be putting some little clips and stuff on TikTok since I get a lot of engagement on there. And we'll start creating small snippets of like questions, getting people to deep dive into certain discussions that we have because we don't want it to just solely be on YouTube, but we want to hear other people's pinpoints because I like the discussions that they have on TikTok and it's very supportive. So yeah, this concludes our video. Hope you all have a good day.